Muy buenos días.
Good morning. I welcome all delegations who will be here this morning. I call to order the 20th plenary meeting of the substantive session of the United Nations Conference to negotiate on legally binding instruments to prohibit nuclear weapons, leading towards their total elimination. We have a very intensive process, and we are going to work revising the text, and therefore we started a bit late today, but we're going to compensate for this during the rest of the day. As I indicated today, we are meeting this morning to know the indicative timetable for the meetings for next week.
To resume its consideration of Agenda Item 5, Organization of Work, in order to examine its program of work for the coming week. The indicative timetable for the conference from the 26th to the 30th of June is being circulated to delegations in an advanced unedited form and will be issued as document AF/conf.229/2017/3/addendum 2. As we all know that we are we have entered already in the negotiation phase. And we are getting ready for the second part of the conference, which will start on Tuesday. I have announced yesterday, and I am reiterating today, as you can see in the indicative timetable, that the revised version of the draft text, the CRP.1/Rev, will be circulated electronically and posted online on Monday, the 26th. Due to time differences and in awareness of the religious holiday that we have on Monday, the 26th, we will be reconvening on Tuesday afternoon at 3 p.m. to continue the negotiations pursuant to paragraph 8 of the General Assembly Resolution 71-58 on the legally binding instrument to prohibit nuclear weapons leading toward the total elimination. During that session on Tuesday afternoon, I will have a presentation of the text. This is going to be an open meeting from 3 to 6. For the rest of the week, we are going to have informal meetings, which are closed meetings, so that we can conduct negotiations, but we will also have plenary sessions so that we can report back to the plenary whatever is being advanced during the informal meetings. That means that on Wednesday, the morning session will be devoted to informal meetings for official delegations. In the afternoon will be devoted to informal meetings. On Thursday, the 29th, we should have a plenary during the morning session from 2 to 1, which will be an open session. From 10 to 11 to report back to the plenary. and we will go immediately back to the negotiations from 2 to 1 in informal meetings. In the afternoon, we will continue with the informal meetings, the negotiations. On Friday, we will continue the informal meetings for the negotiations. In the morning and in the afternoon, we will have a plenary session in an open meeting format. And we will, of course, look in addition to item number 5, organization of work, so that we can plan the work for the following week. Si no hay objeciones de parte.
If there are no objections from the conference, then we'll proceed in that manner. The delegation of Brazil has the floor.
Thank you very much, Madam President, and thank you very much for presenting us with this schedule of work and the way forward for the next week. I think it's important to make the comment in what respect Brazil, that we have some doubts as to whether we really need to make negotiating sessions closed. We have benefited all the way up to now from great contributions coming from the NGOs that are participating in this conference. There are some aspects that are quite technical. They do have a lot of knowledge that they have gathered through the years and have been important actors in this process. And yesterday, even though the room was not particularly large, I saw that there was not an excess of delegates in the room. So I think size-wise doesn't seem to be a problem. I think the conversation was still not on the phase of negotiations on the screen with the rolling text. We were still sort of exchanging positions on the preamble, for example. So, of course, I'm in your hands, and I'm happy to follow your guidance, but I just would like, for the record, to state that in what concerns Brazil, we would be happy to also have the civil society and the NGOs and other observers with us in these discussions. Thank you.
Le agradezco al
I'd like to thank the distinguished ambassador of Brazil. Indeed, we are beginning a new phase of the negotiations, and it's important to have an indicative program or timetable so that we know how we're going to be proceeding with the work. Of the course of next week, depending on how we make progress in the negotiations, and as we've done in this week, we can always explore other methodologies that would make it possible to have the interaction that has been characteristic of the conference up to date. When we have a revised version of the text, we'll have that, and it'll make it possible to negotiate a much more mature text. And as we make progress, we can then look at new methodologies and approaches to include.
No habiendo más comentarios.
As I see there are no more requests for the floor, we'll proceed in that manner. We'll move on then, as suggested, to the informal consultations format for our meeting. This is a session for governmental organizations. We'll adjourn this session in order to reorganize in the new format and have the room for delegations.
Negotiate on legally binding instruments to prohibit nuclear weapons, leading towards their total elimination. We have a very intensive process, and we are going to work revising the text.
Muy buenos días.
Good morning. I welcome all delegations who will be here this morning. I call to order the 20th plenary meeting of the substantive session of the United Nations Conference to and therefore we started a bit late today, but we're going to compensate for this the rest of the day, during the rest of the day. As I indicated today, we are meeting this morning to know the indicative timetable for the meetings for next week.
To resume its consideration of Agenda Item 5, Organization of Work, in order to examine its program of work for the coming week. The indicative timetable for the conference from the 26th to the 30th of June is being circulated to delegations in an advanced unedited form and will be issued as